Welcome to another deep dive today. We're going to be looking into the night at Willow Lake.
Oh, cool.
It's a really cool story about friendship and a mysterious lake
Okay.
and some suspense and spooky happenings.
I'm intrigued already. What kind of friends are we talking about here?
Well, we meet Sarah, Max, and Leo,
Okay.
and they're like super into exploring,
Nice.
always up for an adventure. They hear all these stories about Willow Lake, right?
Uh-huh.
Some people say it's haunted, others say it's cursed.
Ooh, spooky.
And so naturally they're like, we got to see this for ourselves.
Makes sense. Yeah, you can't resist that kind of mystery.
Exactly. So they pack up all the essentials,
Yeah.
Food, water, flashlights,
Right.
even some warm clothes.
Oh, wow. They're going all out.
They're planning on staying out until like midnight
Wow.
to see if any of these spooky stories are true.
That's dedication.
Right. And then off they go to Willow Lake.
I bet they were so excited.
Oh, yeah. But when they get there,
Yeah.
it's like strangely quiet, The water is super still, like a mirror almost.
Okay.
And the air is unusually cold, even for a summer night.
Ooh, that's a little creepy already.
Right. Sarah even shivers a bit.
Yeah, like the lake itself is giving them a warning.
Right. Like maybe this wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But they decide to have a snack by the lake anyway.
Okay, brave.
And then they notice something even weirder.
Oh, no. What is it?
There's no animals around.
Like at all.
No birds singing, no insects buzzing,
Wow.
nothing. It's like an unnatural emptiness.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even the animals knew to stay away.
Right. And it starts to make them feel a little uneasy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like something just isn't right.
Definitely spooky.
So they decide to walk around the lake a bit, to shake off this creepy feeling.
Okay.
The sun starts to set, and they find this old wooden boat.
A boat.
Yeah, tied to a tree. Looks like it's been there for ages.
I wonder who that boat belonged to.
Right, like what happened?
It's like a little piece of the lake's history just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, and as darkness falls, they have to use their flashlights to see.
Okay.
And that's when Sarah spots something really strange in the water.
Uh-oh, what does she see?
It's this faint light, like a small lantern almost,
Okay.
moving slowly across the lake.
What? Like a ghost light.
I know, right?
Okay, now we're getting to the good part. What do?
Well, they try to get closer to the light,
Okay.
but it seems to move farther away,
Oh, like it's playing a game with them?
Yeah, like it doesn't want them to see it.
I wonder if they were scared or just really curious at that point.
A little bit of both, I think.
Probably.
But then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the light disappears.
Oh, no.
The lake is completely dark again.
And they're all alone.
Yeah. And they're probably thinking, okay, things can't get any weirder.
Right.
But then they hear a big splash.
Oh, no.
Something large has fallen into the water.
Oh, gosh. That's like the classic horror movie moment.
I know, right? And they can see these ripples moving toward them in the water.
Okay.
And then this large, dark shadow gliding beneath the surface.
I would be freaking out.
Yeah. And that's when they decide it's time to move away from the water's edge.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Willow Lake is full of surprises.
It definitely sounds like it.
But even though they're scared, they're also intrigued.
Yeah.
They can't stop thinking about the strange light and the shadow in the water.
It's like a puzzle they need to solve.
Right. They have to find out what's really going on at Willow Lake.
Exactly. So they just saw a dark shadow in the water.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to feel like maybe those stories about the lake being haunted weren't just stories.
I bet they were ready to head back to the car right about now.
You'd think, right. But they're actually more curious now than ever.
Wow. So what do?
Well, they're a little spooked,
Mm-hmm.
but they try to calm their nerves by just chatting about normal things.
Right.
But, they can't stop thinking about that light and the shadow in the water.
It's hard to ignore something like that.
Totally. And as they're sitting there in the darkness, listening to the sounds of the night,
Uh-huh.
they hear something else.
What? Something else? What is it?
It's like a soft whisper, almost like a voice calling to them from across the lake.
Ooh, that's creepy. Could they understand what it was saying?
No, it was unintelligible, like it was in a language they didn't understand.
Oh, wow.
But it was enough to send chills down their spines.
I bet they were ready to bolt out of there.
You'd think so, right?
All right.
But then they see another light.
Another light. Okay, what's going on now?
Yeah. It looks like a small lantern swinging back and forth in the trees.
Maybe this is a clue to help them solve the mystery.
Maybe. So they cautiously follow the light deeper into the forest.
I don't know if I'd be brave enough to do that.
I know, it's like something out of a fairy tale, right?
Totally.
And the light leads them to a small clearing in the trees.
Okay.
And there they discover an old abandoned cabin.
A cabin in the woods. Okay, this is getting good.
The windows are broken,
Yeah.
the door is hanging open, and that lantern light has vanished.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to go in there.
They're hesitant at first,
Yeah.
but their curiosity gets the better of them, and they decide to take a peek.
I can understand that you have to know what's inside.
Right. Inside, the cabin is cold and dusty.
Okay.
There's an old chair, a small table, a bed with a blanket, and wait for it, an old notebook on the table.
A notebook. Oh, I bet it holds the secrets to the lake.
Well, Max picks it up and opens it.
Uh-huh.
And guess what?
Right.
It's filled with drawings and notes about the lake.
This is getting interesting.
One page shows a picture of the lake with that same glowing light they saw.
Okay.
And the notes say, "The lake holds many secrets."
Wow. It's like the person who wrote this notebook saw the exact same things they're experiencing.
I know, right?
Spooky.
And another page talks about the shadow in the water, describing it as something that watches but doesn't harm.
Okay, so maybe it's not dangerous.
Maybe not. Sarah starts wondering who could have written this.
Yeah.
And Max flips to the last page of the notebook. It reads, "If you find this, don't be afraid. The lake holds memories, not danger."
That's a strange message. What do you think it means?
Well, just as they're trying to figure that out,
Yeah.
they hear a voice behind them say, "So you found my old notebook."
Oh no. Who's that?
They spin around, and standing in the doorway is an old man holding a lantern.
Could this be the person who wrote the notebook?
Maybe. His face is kind, but a little sad.
Okay, so maybe not dangerous.
Max explains that they didn't mean to take the notebook. They were just curious about the lake. And the old man nods, saying he understands. That he was young and curious once, too.
It sounds like he knows a lot about the lake and its secrets.
He does. And Sarah, of course, can't resist asking him why the lake has all these strange things.
Yeah.
You know, the light, the shadow.
That's the big question. What does the old man say? So what does the old man say about all the strange stuff happening at the lake?
Well, he explains that Willow Lake holds memories of the past.
Memories.
Yeah. He says a long time ago, people would come to the lake to share their stories, you know.
Okay.
Like their dreams and their sorrows, their joys, all of it.
So it's not haunted, it's like a keeper of stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the old man says that sometimes their spirits remain, like whispers in the night.
Oh, wow. So that's what they were seeing and hearing?
Yeah, like memories and spirits of people from the past.
That makes you think about all the people who've been there, you know,
I know, right?
lived and loved and experienced life in that very spot.
It's like their presence is still there, even if we can't see them.
Exactly.
And Leo asks if the spirits are dangerous.
Oh, good question.
But the old man assures them they're not. He says they just want to be remembered.
Oh.
So the old man tells them that the light they saw is just a memory of someone who once walked by the lake.
Okay.
And the shadow is the spirit of the lake itself, watching over all these stories.
Wow. So the lake has like a soul.
Yeah. A memory of all those who came before.
It makes you wonder what stories are held in the places we visit every day.
Right. And it reminds us that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves, you know. Connected to the people who came before us and the people who will come after.
That's a really good point.
And it's getting late, so the old man tells them it's time to go home.
Okay.
But before they leave, he tells them to remember that the lake keeps their story too.
Oh, wow.
Like, their experience is now a part of Willow Lake's story.
And their story has become part of ours, thanks to this deep dive.
It's amazing how a simple story can make us think about such big ideas, right?
It really is.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the night at Willow Lake.
I loved it.
We hope you enjoyed exploring its mysteries with us.
And next time you're by a lake, take a moment to just listen.
You never know what stories you might hear. Dive. I don't know about you, but I am just loving all these mysteries.
Oh, me too. It's like every story is a new puzzle just waiting to be solved.
Right. And the one you shared, The Journey to the Old Village, well, that one's got me hooked.
Oh, yeah. It sounds fascinating. What's the story about?
So it's about these two friends, Emma and Ben.
Okay.
And they just love exploring. You know, they're always off on some adventure.
I can relate to that. There's just something so exciting about discovering new places.
Exactly. And this time, their curiosity leads them to, well, get this, an abandoned village called Stonebrook.
An abandoned village. Now that's got my attention. What happened there? Why was it abandoned?
That's the mystery, isn't it? The story kind of throws you right into the middle of it all.
Oh, I like that. A good mystery should always keep you guessing.
For sure. And this one does not disappoint.
Yeah.
You can just picture Emma and Ben stumbling upon this village.
Yeah.
All these empty houses, doors hanging open, windows covered in dust.
It's like stepping back in time.
Totally. And the story throws in all these little details that just send shivers down your spine.
Ooh, like what?
Like, there's this one part where they talk about the eerie silence. The only sounds are like the rustling of leaves and maybe a distant bird call.
Oh, wow, that would be creepy. You'd just be waiting for something to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are all these amazing discoveries they make as they explore the village. Like, first they find the old baker's shop.
A bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, they walked into a time capsule. You can almost smell the fresh bread.
Fresh bread.
Right. And then they find the village square. And in the middle, there's this old fountain, but it's completely dry.
That's kind of sad. I bet it used to be a lively place, kids playing, people gathering.
I know, right? It just makes you think about all the life that once filled these spaces.
Yeah, all the stories that could be told.
Absolutely. And then they reach, wait for it, the big house.
The big house. Ooh, this sounds interesting.
It is. It's like, the classic haunted house setup.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So they open the door, and everything is covered in white sheets. Furniture, everything.
Oh, wow. Spooky.
Right. And then there's this bookshelf, and it's full of, like, old books, plans of the village, names, dates.
So it's like a treasure trove of history.
Exactly. Like, the whole village's memory is just crammed into those books.
And did they, start looking through the books?
Oh, I'm sure they couldn't resist. I know. I would be dying to know what was inside.
Me too. What a find, huh? A whole abandoned village just waiting to be explored. It makes you wonder what else they might uncover.
Oh, there's definitely more to come. This is just the beginning of their adventure.
I can't wait to hear what happens next.
Me neither. But first, let's delve a little deeper into what we've learned so far. What do you make of these initial discoveries?
Well, I think the author's doing a fantastic job of setting the scene, building that sense of mystery and suspense.
Totally. And those little details, like the eerie silence and the dusty bakery, they really bring the village to life, or rather, to a sort of ghostly life.
It's like they're inviting us to use our imaginations to fill in the blanks. What was it like to live in Stonebrook? What happened to everyone? Why did they leave?
So many questions. And the story is only just getting started.
I'm already hooked. I need to know more.
Me too. But for now, let's pause here and let our listeners soak it all in. We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into the journey to the old village.
See you then.
Until then, keep exploring.
It's like you can feel the weight of history in a place like that,
Oh, totally. Especially in the big house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just full of stuff that hints at a whole life lived there.
Right. Yeah, and each object is like a little piece of a puzzle.
Right. Like, what were they doing when they just up and left? Why did they leave everything behind?
And it's not just what they left behind, it's also what they took with them. Like, what stories did they carry with them when they left Stonebrook?
Oh, I know, right? It just makes you think about how much we don't know about the past.
Yeah, like it's all just whispers and shadows.
Speaking of shadows, did you catch that part where Emma and Ben hear a tapping sound in the big house?
Oh, yeah, that was creepy. I thought for sure someone else was in there.
Me too. I was like, who's there?
But it turned out to be just a bird pecking at the window, right?
Yep. It's funny how even in a deserted village, nature finds a way to make its presence known.
It's like a reminder that life goes on even in the quietest of places.
Totally. But let's get back to the big house because there's one more detail we have to talk about: the painting.
Oh, yes, the painting. That was incredible, wasn't it?
I know, right? It's like they stumble upon a hidden masterpiece.
Right in the middle of an abandoned village.
Exactly. And it's not just any painting. It's a depiction of a festival happening in Stonebrook.
Oh, wow. So we actually get to see what life was like back then.
We do. It's full of vibrant colors and energy. You can practically hear the music and laughter.
And there was that one figure in the painting, remember? The tall man who seemed to be leading the celebration.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who he was. Maybe the village leader or some important figure.
It's like the author is giving us a little glimpse into the past, but leaving us with even more questions.
Totally. Like, what was so special about this festival, and why does the story keep mentioning it?
Yeah, there's definitely something more to it than meets the eye.
Okay, before we get too carried away with theories, we have to talk about the schoolhouse. I mean, come on. A schoolhouse in an abandoned village, how cool is that?
It was such a poignant part of the story, wasn't it? You can just imagine all the children who once filled those classrooms.
Right, learning their ABCs and playing games in the schoolyard.
And then you see those tiny desks and the scattered books, and it's like time just froze.
Oh, and don't forget about the message on the chalkboard.
Always remember the festival.
Yeah. It sends chills down my spine every time I think about it.
It's like a warning or a plea from the past.
Right. What happened at that festival that was so significant? And why should we remember it?
It's like the key to unlocking the whole mystery of Stonebrook.
It feels like we're getting closer to the truth, but there's still so many pieces missing from the puzzle.
That's the beauty of a good mystery, isn't it? It keeps you guessing until the very end.
And this one is no exception. We've got eerie silence, cryptic messages, a vibrant painting, and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
Stonebrook is definitely holding on to its secrets.
But maybe, just maybe, we can unravel them together. What do you say?
I'm game. Let's keep digging. It makes you wonder what happened at that festival. You know, like, was it a joyous occasion, or was there something darker lurking beneath the surface?
Like maybe the festival was the catalyst for everything that happened to Stonebrook.
It's possible,
Yeah.
you know? Maybe something went wrong, or maybe there was some kind of conflict or disagreement.
That's a good point. Maybe the festival was supposed to bring the community together, but instead it ended up tearing them apart.
Exactly. And the story doesn't give us any definitive answers, so we're left to fill in the blanks ourselves.
Which is part of the fun, isn't it? We get to be detectives, piecing together the clues, and coming up with our own theories.
Exactly. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about interpretation.
So what do you think happened? What's your theory?
Well, I'm leaning towards the idea that something went wrong at the festival. You know, like maybe there was an accident or some kind of natural disaster.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Especially since the story keeps emphasizing the eerie silence and the feeling of something being off.
Right. It's like the village is haunted by the memory of that festival.
And that message on the chalkboard, always remember the festival. It's like a warning from the past.
It's definitely a clue that we can't ignore.
So maybe the villagers left Stonebrook because they were afraid of what happened there.
Or maybe they left to escape the memory of it.
Either way, it's clear that the festival was a turning point in the village's history.
And it's left an indelible mark on the place.
Stonebrook is like a time capsule frozen in time, preserving the remnants of a lost community.
And it's up to us to imagine what life was like there and what led to its demise.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the journey to the old village, I want to leave you with this thought. What would you have done if you were Emma and Ben?
Would you have kept exploring, or would you have been too spooked to stay?
And what secrets do you think Stonebrook is still hiding?
The answers, my friend, are out there waiting to be discovered.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your curiosity alive.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown.
Until next time, happy exploring.